Oh, all right. There we go. Hi, welcome back. Thanks for coming back, or at least coming to the new version of this stream. I don't know what happened there. It's a little issue. It looks like it was Streamlabs, which I just updated. So I don't know if the update screwed me up or what. Also, what I'm not looking at, I got to see if my settings changed. What are they doing to PDawg? I don't know. No, you're not deaf. Funny. Y'all are some funny motherfuckers. Yeah. Anyway, so, all right, as I'm resetting everything, let me make sure. Let's do this real quick. That's good. Then let's see. Got that. All right. Why are these out of order? What the hell happened there? There we go. So welcome to part 2 of the Wednesday stream on the Morning Night Live. So you might as well hit the like button on this one too, if you don't mind. Welcome back. Let's see. It looks like I had Selection Boy, Mike Savage, Debbie Thinks is back, Uncle Bad Touch, Samish Derby, Diesel Dave, Gene Beams, Tarai Deos. How you doing? You weren't here earlier. Seamus is here. Good. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was weird. I'm gonna go check my channel too. Looks like I think I have 2 versions of this probably. Anyway, we're going to get into the news in a moment. Let's see, did it fix my, let me check something real quick. Sorry for the technical wizardry of the day. Yeah, it isn't. Okay, I got to change that. Give me a moment and we should be back to good. Oh, and it did change my resolutions. I hate it when they do updates on Streamlabs. It just drives me nuts. And this doesn't even have. So there, gosh darn it, this drives me crazy. So let's see, monetization's off. Not made for kids. How do I do this? Upload a thumbnail. I'll do this. Guys, I'm so sorry. This is such a pain in the ass. So I'm going to have some trouble with this stream, I'm going to guess. Did you tweet out the show? No, I did. Oh, yes, I did tweet out the show, but now it's on the wrong channel, so I'm not going to redo it. Hopefully people will find me when they go to YouTube. Gosh darn it, this is annoying. All right. Let's see. Monetization on public? Yes. Thumbnail? Yes. No. No paid promotions. Gosh. Oh, I'm having to redo everything. Holy shit. What a pain in the butt. All right. Anyway, let's get into some news. Now, the only reason I bring in this, I was on Twitter. Oh, here's where I was. I was doing this. Apparently, Robin, aka Batman's sidekick, is now going to explore his sexuality. Yay! Batman's third Robin, Tim Drake, has served off and on as the Cape Crusader sidekick for more than 30 years in the latest comic, Batman Urban Legends, Volume 6. Tim realizes that he has romantic feelings for his male friend Bernard. However, Megan Fitzmartin, the writer, stated there are no labels attached to his sexuality just yet, just saying Tim is figuring himself out. Now, freaking-tastic. I'm so glad that they decided that this was an important thing to do with Robin. I always thought the character was gay anyway. But anyway, but and now as you read other people talk about it, that's the YouTube version. Polygon says one of the Robins just came out of the closet. Okay. The writer says, I just wanted to pay tribute to the fact that sexuality is a journey. Is it now? Fitzmartin told Polygon, to be clear, his feelings for Stephanie have been and are 100% real, as are his feelings for Bernard. However, Tim is still figuring himself out. I don't think he has language for it at all. So yeah, I guess they're making him bi, which is very common among men. Not. Anyway, or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think it's common among anybody. It's just weird. Anyway, so LGBT History Month says Tim Drake's Robin comes out as bisexual. New Batman's comic book. Yippee! Again. So there you go. I just saying. Does that make Batman? No. He doesn't have feelings for Batman. Hello, Evan S. Hanging out with an eccentric billionaire in his mansion all those weekends will tend to do that to a young mind. Well, you know, it's, you know, okay. I'm so glad that that's what's important. Let's check out what else. I have, like I said, I have a ton of news articles open, but now I just want to, oh, did someone just retweet this? No, they didn't. Okay, or send this out. I just want to see. I want to check the Explore page here, though, because what else did they? Oh, the Psaki bomb. So, Jensaki lied to the press today, and everyone, the lefties are so excited. They call it a Psaki bomb because you know, she's talking to Peter Doocy, and he's asking questions about how, you know, could some of the hesitancy towards the jabs and stabs, whatnot, be because of how some of the people in office now were talking about them during the campaign, during the election. So here's the question, and hear how Jen Psaki answers, even though it's not it's a lie. And she knows it's a lie, even though, well, it's a lie that they can't help telling, because the person they're talking about was talking about research, and she says listen to this. Tell me just listen.
Have a vaccine in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. And Joe Biden is out on the campaign trail saying, don't trust Donald Trump. Did that create any kind of vaccine hesitancy?
Not that we've seen in the data. I wouldn't.
Oh, really? Not at all? What data? What data are you talking about? What data do you have on vaccine hesitancy? But listen to her answer.
Note that at the time, just for context, the former president was also suggesting people inject versions of poison into their veins to cure COVID. So I think that's irrelevant.
Did he now? Listen to her answer again. Listen to what she says, how she phrases this.
Not that we've seen in the data. I would note that at the time, just for context, the former president was also suggesting people inject versions of poison into their veins to cure COVID. So
he was suggesting people inject poison into their veins, and some people, and then one reporter later asked about bleach, so everyone thinks he said to inject bleach. No. He was talking about researchers researching types of things that would act like a disinfectant. Okay, he didn't say they should, and I think he was referring to something similar to the way chemotherapy works, but he did not suggest that people on their own should be going and injecting anything into their body. But anyway, and so now, you know, obviously this is one of those things that trend on Twitter, because Twitter loves this kind of stuff. Anything that sounds that makes Trump look bad, they will keep, you know, they will definitely make sure it trends. And if something that, you know, looks bad for Democrat starts to trend, they will change it to something anti-Trump. Anyway, let's see the rest of her answer here.
I think that's a relevant point.
And Joe Biden, then vice president, was saying, we got to wait until something is fully authorized, and it's still not.
Well, the FDA works on the timeline of science. At the same time, we've also
science.
seen...
See, all you have to do is say a science, and then that'll be like, oh, science, yes, science. Anyway.
Tens of millions of people's lives saved who have gotten the vaccine. That data is clear across the country.
Well, thank you, Donald Trump, for 10 million, their lives saved because Donald Trump made sure that the vaccines got out in a timely manner. But, you know, I mean, if people are hesitant, they're hesitant for their own reasons. You know, it's funny because a a lot of BIPOC people are very hesitant about the stabs. So anyway, that would be the exact opposite of context. Context requires something to be based in reality. Okay, I gotcha. Anyway, so that I found that fascinating. And then also, what was the other one? There was another one here that I saw that I'm like, ugh, good God. Oh, Healthcare Insider. Never heard of this, but this is Florida doctors are exhausted and angry as the state's stupid 19 surge unleashes pandemonium inside hospitals. There's another reason that hospitals are filling up that are not, you know, stupid, the 19, right? Oh, these women beat out 7,000 other applicants for jobs at a California winery that pays $10,000 a month. So $120,000 a year in California. They might be able to afford a studio apartment for that in California. Anyway, since COVID, an invisible disability that is strikingly visible, increased concern over smell loss is prompting new research. Yeah, I'm one of those. I still have smell loss. I don't know if it's a disability or not. And I smell stinky people's farts. I don't have to worry about it. Now, thanks Biden is trending. Oh, let's see what this is. Oh, this one's for gas. No mean tweets, though. Thanks, Biden. Consumer prices are up again, rising the highest 12-month rate since 2008. The cost of goods and services for everyday Americans are out of control. Yeah, so they're saying that, the increase in pay that has nothing to do with raising the minimum wage because they haven't really had to. Even with the people making higher wages because of the lack of people, they're finding people to work. The inflation rate is wiping out any gains that people had had. In fact, the inflation rates is growing faster than the increased money supposedly that people are taking home, and not a good thing. So some people are we are rapidly becoming a communist nation. Thanks, Biden. Oh no, the White House urges OPEC to pump more oil above and beyond the current 400,000. Oh my gosh, listen to this. What's the date on this? Statement by National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan for the need for reliable, stable global energy markets. Oh, they're begging OPEC to pump more oil? Oh my gosh. Weren't we just energy independent supposedly? Or weren't we a net exporter of oil not that long ago? Statement by the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan for the needs for reliable, stable global energy markets. Higher gasoline costs, if left unchecked, risk harming the ongoing global recovery. Recovery. The price of crude oil has been higher than it was at the end of 2019 before the onset of the pandemic. While OPEC recently agreed to production increases, these increases will not fully offset previous production cuts that OPEC imposed during the pandemic until well into 2022. At a critical moment in the global recovery, this simply is not enough. President Biden made it clear he wants Americans to have access to affordable and reliable energy, including at the pump. Although we are not a party to OPEC, the United States will always speak to international partners regarding issues of significance that affect our national economic and security affairs in public and in private. We are engaging with relevant OPEC members on the importance of competitive markets and setting prices. Competitive energy markets will ensure reliable and stable energy supplies, and OPEC must do more to support recovery. Hey, Joe Biden and Jake Sullivan, National whatever security advisor. There's a country that was really, really pumping out a lot of energy and had some pipelines and stuff that you cancel that one pipeline that we could have used. Of course, that was coming from Canada, but you canceled that big old pipeline project, which also about 20,000 jobs along with it. And oh my God, you got to be kidding me. This is sad. So, okay, thanks Biden. A lot of it about the pump. Texas has millions in stupid 19 rent relief. Here's how Dallas renters landlords can get it. Thanks, Biden. Do not thank Senator Cornyn for relief. He voted against it. No. For the landlords that they've been telling you that you're not allowed to evict anybody. So yeah, the rent relief, is supposedly be going to the people who collect rent, not who pay rent. Because I got a feeling if you give rent relief to these people who are there banning from evicting, I got a feeling they're not going to use it to pay rent. I just got a feeling. I got a feeling. Ooh. Anyway, I can't take it. I can't take Twitter anymore. We're gonna get into some news, some headlines. We'll get into stuff. I'm probably gonna go till about 4:30, 4:45 today. Just FYI, if you're keeping track on the board there. Good afternoon, all you need. Nice to see you. Welcome back. Also, someone had to go to work. I hope you have a good day at work. The FDA does not work on a timeline of science. The entire thing is designed to create jobs for testing firms and limit entry into the market. Yeah. Yes, Advocatus Diablo, you're correct. Have they come to the conclusion that obesity may be a pandemic of its own? Well, I wouldn't say it's a pandemic. I think it's endemic to at least our country. Good morning. Good afternoon, Cannibalistic Wizard. Trump could take a pic of a cloud that looks like a bunny and tweet it out, and the media would say, no, it's a cloud, but Biden says it's a nom nom ice cream, and the media is like, notice me, senpai. Yeah, the media is, they are, what's my old description? Something about something taint cleaning, something or other. Anyway. Ginger Power, how you doing? It's already past 4:30. I'm talking my time. I'm in Central Time. Let's just, oh, you East Coasters. Anyway, welcome, Ginger Power. Nice to see you. All right, let's actually move on to something else. Oh, Diesel Dave sent me George Soros and Bill Gates back consortium to buy UK maker of stupid test for $41 million. What? Okay, we'll check this one out because I've got so many other articles open, but what the hell? One more ain't gonna hurt me. So this is from Forbes magazine. What a free article. Well, thank you. I don't need to learn more. Just shut that shit. All right, this is out of Forbes. Apparently, now this does not surprise me at all. George Soros and Bill Gates backed a consortium to buy UK maker of COVID tests for $41 million. Billionaires George Soros and Bill Gates are part of a consortium set to buy Mologic, a UK-based maker of stupid 19 tests, in an effort to increase access to affordable state-of-the-art medical technology around the world, according to a statement released Monday. You mean when governments buy those tests? Oh, anyway, the Soros Economic Development Fund and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation announced the launch of a new initiative, Global Access Health, GAH, aiming to strengthen the global rollout, saving medical technology and the subsequent acquisition of Mologic, the best known today for the deep nostril technology used to deliver rapid stupid 19 tests. The technology can also be used to test for dengue, bilharzia, and river blindness. The rapid so-called lateral flow tests offer an early warning screening for the 19 and have been used around the world as an aid to help reopen shops, bars, sporting events, workplaces by giving an early warning result for people who may have no symptoms but are still infectious and can give the virus to others. In the UK, lateral flow COVID stupid 19 tests need to be confirmed by a second test before 19 is officially diagnosed. So these are like the quick tests, but apparently some places they require you to have a real test. But yeah, okay, so Soros and Gates are part of the billionaire community looking to direct their philanthropic efforts to the so-called global south, referring to broadly to regions of Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Oceania, that many fear will be left behind as the more affluent West accelerates its program of stabs, testing, and biosecure bubbles in the years ahead. So, in theory, they're buying or putting their stake in these companies so that they can help poor nations around the world. You know what? I don't know. Now, so it makes me wonder too. Well, why is Bill Gates also buying up like all this farmland in the United States? What is he trying? Who's he trying to help with that? Is he going to start farming? I doubt it. I think isn't he the largest owner of farmland in the United States right now? And with China, I think, becoming a close second, which is weird. Or I shouldn't say China, but Chinese interests. I don't know. Sorry about that noise there. I forgot. I'm used to drinking coffee where I can keep it quiet. All right, this guy is a moron. In my neck of the woods, Democratic official says burning police station was an act of pure righteousness. Minneapolis party chairman says decorum is the hallmark of white supremacy.
You're fucking a white male!
The head of the Minneapolis Democratic Party defended his claim that burning of a police building during the George Floyd riots last summer was an act of pure righteousness. Devin Hogan, chair of the Minneapolis Democratic Farmer Labor Party, is what they call it in Minnesota, argued in an August column for Southside Pride that the burning of the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis during the riots last year was justified as a genuine revolutionary moment. Police fled the building in May 2020 as rioters broke in and set the building on fire. In a statement issued on Monday, Hogan defended his comments as accurate and truthful. Hello, Duck Dog. He quote, get this, quote, fetishizing decorum over substance is a hallmark of white supremacy, Hogan said. If anti-racism offends your sensibilities, then please use this moment to examine the role you play in maintaining and upholding these systems. Which side are you on? I'm sorry, this is him. Hey, what's your name again? His name is Devin Hogan. I got to remind you of something.
You're fucking a white male!
Look here, Devin. And I'm sure there's more of this. Oh, is that pretty much the article? They killed George Floyd and took every opportunity to escalate, agitate, and make things worse. No, they didn't. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They took every opportunity to escalate, agitate, and make things worse. No, people started rioting the street. The cops are rioting and people are responding, he wrote. What are you talking about? The cops are rioting? The people declared themselves ungovernable and unilaterally took their power back. Really? Where are they now? Where's the power they took back right now? Not in Minneapolis, they're not. Oh, except there's a lot more murders and mayhem in Minneapolis. It's, oh my God. I want to, next time someone runs for any office in the state of Minnesota, I want to hang this as a banner with his picture and quote marks and make sure it says Democrat in big letters. I don't know if this is going to fly. Faithless. Yes, you're correct, Faithless. January 6th was also white supremacy. Decorum is the hallmark of white supremacy. Then how is Trump white supremacy? Yeah, Trump's a brother, man, if that's the case. Because, holy smokes. Let's move on. Interesting. Federal judge suggests prosecutors are being too lenient on Capitol rioters. This is who we have in our judiciary. The too lenient on those people who have still being held without bail and no parole, and they're sitting in jails and they're getting beaten up in jails by very antagonistic guards. Oh yeah, that's they're being lenient. A federal judge suggested that prosecutors were being far too lenient on the Capitol riot. Well, mainly because they don't have a whole lot of evidence for a lot of the stuff they were talking about. That prosecutors are being far too lenient on the Capitol rioters, asking why some rioters were allowed to plead guilty to misdemeanors and why the amount of money the government is looking to recover is far short of the $550 million in damage caused during the riot. Really? $550 million in damage? Not quite hangings too good for him, but close. What set the judge off was the case of Glenn Croy of Colorado Springs. Croy was charged with illegally entering the Capitol on January 6th under a deal with prosecutors. Croy was to plead guilty to a single misdemeanor charge of parading or picketing in the Capitol. That charge carries a 6-month jail sentence of up to a $5,000 fine. Now, we talked about this the other day, and part of the problem that the prosecutors have right now is the lawyers for a lot of these defendants in federal trials and courts are supposed to have a very, very wide berth of discovery, right? And so there's like over 14,000 hours of video from the multiple cameras around DC and body cams and everything. And for each defendant, you're supposed to have access to all of that. And the government, they've kind of been slow walking that stuff. And even and also, here's the thing. If there's anything exculpatory in any of the evidence, including those 14,000 hours of video, the prosecutors under federal law are supposed to supply the people with anything that might be exculpatory. And even if they haven't looked at it all, under the law, they are absolutely, the law says they know about it even if they haven't seen it. So they're doing some of these plea cases knowing that they aren't following the federal rules of discovery for all these people. So I don't know what this judge is asking. Maybe the judge doesn't know this. How I know this and the judge doesn't know it, go figure. Anyway, from Politico. Croy initially agreed with Hochul that his actions on January 6th were taken with what the judge called, quote, the purpose of stopping Congress from certifying the electoral vote from the 2020 presidential election. But a short time later, his defense attorney, Kira Ann West, added that there was no agreement with the prosecutor that was Croy's intent that day. In fact, West said his client said he had no intention of stopping any vote and didn't actually know that the Electoral College votes were scheduled to be tallied at the time the historic building was stormed. These claims did not appear to sit well with Hochul, the judge. This is the puzzle for this petty offense charge. It's to parading, demonstrating, or picketing. That is typically for an end, the judge said. Demonstrating is typically about something. It's parading about something. Indeed it is, and the judge has put her finger on why the vast majority of the 550 cases brought against Capitol rioters will be tossed. The prosecution has been royally botched. Oh well, I hear, yeah. Oh well. Quote, the handling of the other January 6 cases by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington and its superiors at the Justice Department has pointed to such a distinction. Cases where defendants posted on social media about trying to stop the vote have generally produced more serious charges, while those lacking such evidence seems to have been treated more leniently. Even if the acts allegedly committed were similar. Yet Hochul doesn't seem to be buying it, and repeatedly suggested it could be inferred that those who entered the Capitol were not just there on a lark. No, they were there on a LARP. Anyway, the key is intent. If the prosecutors can prove an intent to disrupt or interfere with the election in the protesters' actions, that should lead to felony charges and long jail sentences. The judge wants prosecutors to throw the book at any protester who entered the Capitol building, apparently even if they can't prove the intent was to overthrow the government. What? If they can't prove it, why are you wasting time with those charges? The judge is also miffed that the prosecutor is recommending fines that total far less than the damages caused. Hochul said, well, yep. So you want to have $1 million in fines for each defendant? For parading? Don't you have to prove that the defendant caused any damage and the amount of damage? I think you have to prove that, right? Let's see. Hochul said she was puzzled why prosecutors are using the sum of about $1.5 million to calculate restitution in the cases, while Congress agreed last month to appropriate $521 million to the National Guard for costs incurred in providing security for the Capitol for 4 months after the January 6th assault. Hey, they didn't have to do that. There was nothing else. Biden signed the bill in July. Would you explain the U.S. Attorney's Office reason to limit restitution to a little less than $1.5 million in repairs to the building itself when the total cost of this riot to the American taxpayer is $500 million? The judge asked. Now, this is a good question. Can you imagine a judge asking why Black Lives Matter rioters weren't assessed a couple of $1 billion for the damage caused by rioting, looting during last summer's unrest? Ha! Good point. It's been clear the government has had it in for the rioters from the beginning. Convictions and guilty pleas should keep the appeals courts busy for the next 20 years or so. Anyway, yeah, how about you? Hello, Kiever Dam, and thank you for sharing the stream, because I certainly, I did share the stream, but then the stream died, so I had to start over. So I do appreciate you doing that. In fact, let's see, in my notes, I'm gonna retweet you and say, oops, hang on there. That's not what I want to do. I want to quote tweet. Your drafted tweet will be discarded before your quote tweet. Okay, I don't have it. I don't need my draft tweet. Stream moved. Thank you, Dan, for doing that. I appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we got here. I got a ton of stuff. Let's see. Oh, let's update though on the January 6th defendants, because there's a good article in American Thinker here about that, and it's a pretty good update. Although, well, good update is relative to if you think any of this is good, but. Prosecutors in the cases against the January 6th demonstrators started to run into some judicial pushback. Questions about exculpatory evidence in their possession not turned over as the law demands. Lower courts assessing the defendants as more dangerous than the evidence warranted. The courts assessing that. And most significantly, whether the prosecution is overcharging defendants with the federal crime of obstruction. Most of the defendants are charged with knowingly entering or remaining in a restricted area, a fancy way of saying trespassing. Defendants are entitled to see before pleading to the charges any material exculpatory evidence in the government's possession. And that's the stickler right now, because there's, like I said, 14,000 hours of video if you count every camera that was there that they have evidence from. So anyway, defense counsel have complained that the government has not been meeting this obligation as far as providing any potentially exculpatory evidence. And And the prosecution has been responding that it is unable to quickly access all the evidence that it has to meet this burden. As to those charged with trespassing, some are claiming they were invited in and therefore could not be guilty of the charges. Yes, there was a point where you saw that the Capitol Police were talking to a group of them who was saying, hey, now you can come in this building, but you can't mess anything up. You can't do this, you can't do that, but you can come in. So the Capitol Police did invite some of them in, and it's on video. There is a video of it. So anyway, so how could they be charged with trespassing? The prosecution got one extension, and the question is whether they should get another, a question complicated by the defendant's right to a speedy trial, which they're not getting. 16 of the defendants facing the most serious charges will not have their cases heard until next January. Ugh. So they'll be in jail for over a year before their case is even heard. Holy shit. This week, the Department of Justice seems to have conceded the very point of the inapplicability of some trespass charges. In its pleading, it states, quote, "We possess some information that the defense may view as supportive of arguments that law enforcement authorized defendants, including the particular defendant, to enter the restricted grounds, e.g. images of officers hugging or fist-bumping rioters, posing for photos with rioters, and moving bike racks. We are not in a position to state whether we have identified all such information." Hey, there's one video where they literally said they could come in if they acted, if they acted reasonable. To my knowledge, 2 appellate courts have now held that the trial courts have erred in assessing the appellant's dangerousness. The first such case was decided in March. And here it is. In a 2-1 decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit ordered a lower court judge to reconsider his decision to keep Eric Munchel and his mother, Lisa Eisenhart, in jail while their cases go forward. U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth had ruled in February that Munchel, who was photographed inside the Capitol wearing a tactical gear and holding plastic zip tie handcuffs, and Eisenhart presented a clear danger to our republic. Ow! Anyway, and that there were no release conditions that would reasonably ensure the safety of the community. But D.C. Circuit Judge Roy Wilkins wrote Friday that Lamberth's 17-page opinion failed to articulate how the two posed a danger when they hadn't actually been charged with committing specific violent acts at the Capitol on January 6th. Lamberth wrote that the allegations against Munchel showed that he was willing to use force to promote his political ends, but the appeals court found that the judge didn't explain how he reached that conclusion when there was no evidence Munchel hurt anyone or broke anything. In our view, those who actually assaulted police officers and broke the windows, doors, and barricades, and those who aided and conspired with, planned, and coordinated such actions are in a different category of dangerousness than those who cheered on the violence or entered the Capitol after others cleared the way. Wilkins, joined by Judge Judith Rogers, wrote, Munchel and Eisenhart will remain in jail as the case goes back to Lamberth for another round of arguments. Judge Lamberth released them pending trial. Friday's opinion marks the first time the appeals court has weighed in with a specific framework for how lower court judges should think about pretrial detention in the Capitol riot cases. This decision sets a precedent that is now binding on all other district court judges in D.C. and moves the bar higher for the government to successfully argue for pretrial detention for other defendants who, like Munchel and Eisenhart, aren't charged with assaulting police, property destruction, or conspiracy, and have minimal or no previous records. The 3-judge appeals court panel has ordered the release of West Virginian sandwich shop owner George Tanios pending a trial in the January 6th chemical spray assault on 3 police officers, including Brian Zicknick, who died the following day after suffering 2 strokes. A lower court clearly erred in its individualized assessment of the appellant's dangerousness, the judges from the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit said in an order filed Monday night. Quote, the record reflects that Tanios has no past felony convictions, no ties to any extremist organizations, and no post-January 6th criminal behavior that would otherwise show him to pose a danger to the community within the meaning of the Bail Reform Act, the order said. So they are, the appellate courts are saying, how do I phrase this? Really, bitch? Are these people supposed to be in danger? Like they've never been to anything like this before. They've never been in any trouble. They've never, whatever. Anyway, so you can read the rest, how they're dealing with that. Hello, Check Your Logic. Hello, Nobody Not Me. And Cynic, nice to see you in the chat today. So if you're just getting here, this is the second time this is the second version of today's stream. And I have a bunch of random articles, just different various things. No Woke Wednesday today. And for some reason, I'm still getting notifications on my damn phone. Why is that? Because my Do Not Disturb stopped working. All right. Anyway, and happy Wednesday to you all, by the way. Oh, Jonas Patterson's in the house, too. Nice to see you, sir. By the way, the Morning Night Live, even though this is the afternoon version, is still sponsored by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. I'm sure you're here, so you must like something about this. And share the stream if you haven't already. Thank you, Dr. Kievernam, for doing that. And also, if you would like to be a sponsor, like monetarily, you can do that. The YouTube Super Chats, I'll read them all, and Streamlabs, I'll read them all. Are the YouTube, the Streamlabs bots going today? I don't see them. Yeah, I see them there. So yeah, you can share this stream with people you interact with. It takes just a few clicks, starting with the share arrow down below. And if you want to also join the PDawgKnight Discord server, there's a link in the chat if you can scroll up a little bit. Also, where's the other ones? There's not any other ones. Anyway, and then PDawgKnight.live is where you can get your Resist Fascism merch in the merch tab. Also, the link to the Streamlabs donation pages up in the right-hand corner there. And I don't know what's going on with my resolution. I'm having something goofy stuff going on here. I'll fix it before the next stream. Hopefully you can see things just fine. All right, let's move on. Okay, now let's get into this infrastructure bullshit. And this is the Breitbart article. And Breitbart, is fairly reliably to the right. And I think they're mocking this a little bit. 19 Senate Republicans made history for Joe Biden by passing a bipartisan so-called infrastructure bill. I think that's a snarky way to put it. Senate Republicans granted President Joe Biden a significant victory on Tuesday in helping the bipartisan so-called infrastructure bill pass through the Senate. The bill passed H.R. 3684, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act 69-30, which features overwhelming Democrat support and strong Republican support. Here's if there's a list of the 19 Senate Republicans who should all be primaried, who voted for the infrastructure bill. I wonder if some of these are the usual subjects, but there are a couple in here that I'm scratching my head. Maybe McConnell has voted for it just because he saw the writing on the wall. And but anyway, there they are. Sullivan, Moore, Crapo, Blunt, Burr, Fisher, Graham, Portman, Tillis, Murkowski, Reish, Grassley, Cassidy, Kramer, Wicker, McConnell, Hoven, Susan Collins, and Mitt fucking Romney, of course. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said on the Senate floor, this bill passed under Biden is the first major infrastructure bill in over a decade. Is it now? Schumer said the bipartisan bill serves as the first track of the two-track... Schumer said the bipartisan bill serves as the first track of the two-track strategy on infrastructure. Really? How much? What is it? How many? Oh my God. $1.3 billion? Trillion? Trillion with a T-R? Vice President Harris presided over the Senate as the chamber passed the bill, Senator Rob Portman, Republican of Ohio, who's retiring soon, said the Senate made history by passing the bill through the Senate. But I don't think, Portman did vote for it. Portman, a lead BIF negotiator, says the Senate is about to make history ahead of the vote on a final passage. There are jokes around town that Infrastructure Week has come and gone so many times that people are a little cynical when we talk about it. Well, today it's Infrastructure Day. Now, let me just say something about this, though. It is, don't think that just because we got President Biden, that something like this wasn't going to happen anyway. You got to remember, one of Donald Trump's big things he said during the campaign is that, we want to tackle infrastructure during the next, during the next term of presidency, which he thought he would be him. So I don't know, remember, Trump is not a conservative. Trump is Trump. And every once in a while, Trump showed old Trump, hang out with the Clintons Trump. So I'm not convinced. Now, here's what I am, though. I don't think necessarily it would have been $1.3 trillion and definitely not $3.5 trillion like the House bill that they want to try and reconcile these two. When they say they want to reconcile, it's like, hold your hind parts, okay? Because they're coming in hard and dry. Anyway, Senator Mike Brown, Republican Indiana, said before the vote that Republicans are complicit by supporting the bipartisan bill as it would lead to passage of the Democrats' $3.5 trillion package. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican of Missouri, who voted against the bill, said, I just voted no on the first installment of Joe Biden's massive left-wing agenda. No to gender identity mandates, no to the Green New Deal, no to CRT racial equity mandates, no to decimating the energy sector, yes to America. So that's his tweet. Tommy Tuberville also voted against the bill, said, the final legislation is loaded with giveaways to big cities and pet projects that have little to do with real infrastructure. True. Worse, we're using fuzzy math and IOUs to hide the real cost of this massive legislation. I can't vote for a bill that fails to give Alabama a fair slice of the pie while also saddling Alabama taxpayers with even more debt. The $1.2 trillion, 2,702 page bipartisan infrastructure bill serves as the first part of the two-part approach for the Biden administration. The Biden administration hopes the bill would help facilitate funding of physical infrastructure, while the Democrats' $3.5 trillion, sorry if you're wearing headphones, infrastructure bill would fund social spending programs, which includes the expansion of the Affordable Care Act, not infrastructure, to address the Medicaid gap, not infrastructure, amnesty for illegal aliens, not infrastructure, and Civilian Climate Corps. The what? What the fuck is the Civilian Climate Corps? Fuck out of here. Look, I'm going to skip the rest. If you want to read the rest of it, because there's more in another article here. So 19 Senate Republicans voted for this trash. A group of 19 Senate Republicans voted with Democrats to pass the largest infrastructure package in decades Tuesday, delivering a big win for President Joe Biden and the White House. The legislation passed 69. It's more like 68. You do me and I'll owe you one. 30. 19 Republicans joined every Democrat voting for the package. Yeah, there they are. They're already listed in the other article. Fuck them. Next, now let's talk about. I'm not going to talk about Andrew Cuomo himself so much, but let's meet Kathy Hochul. I don't even know how to say it. Hochul, who replaces Andrew Cuomo and becomes New York's first female governor. Well. I think she's just a super lefty, and I think she was more of a kind of an insurance policy that they wouldn't get rid of Cuomo, and oh my gosh, they're getting rid of Cuomo. Governor Cuomo's resignation announcement on Tuesday has paved the way for longtime public servant, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, to become the Empire State's first woman governor. This is from the New York Post. The 62-year-old, whose political career took her from an upstate town board to Congress and through 2 terms as the next in line to the governor, will succeed Cuomo once his resignation in the wake of his sexual harassment allegations goes into effect August 24th. You know what? Somebody, I don't even know who made this point, but it's a good point. If he wasn't guilty of what they're accusing him of, why would he resign? Just saying. Kathy is absolutely ready. Erie County Democratic Party Chairman Jeremy Zellner told the Post, "There's one word that describes our Lieutenant Governor: tenacious." Ooh, tenacious. Okay, and what are, oh, God, pointing to Hochul's ability to appeal to rural and urban Democrats alike. Oh, wait. Notice her appeal to rural and urban Democrats alike. She's been a bulldog from day one. She knows what needs to get done for the people of New York. But wait a minute. Is everybody in New York a Democrat? Does she not have to appeal to anybody else? That's an interesting question. Just as her ability to appeal to rural and urban Democrats alike. How about to the rest of the voters? There's independents and Republicans. Yeah, okay, I guess they don't matter in New York. Well, they kind of don't, actually. A Buffalo native and a steelworker's daughter. Hochul received her BA from Syracuse. I don't care. I want to hear about her politics. Blah, blah, public office, yada, yada. Oh, she's a Okay, here we go. When she served as Erie County Clerk, Hochul made headlines for her resistance to then Governor Eliot Spitzer's plan to allow illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses. Oh, well, I'll give her that. Before finishing her first full term, Hochul threw her hat into the ring during the 2011 special election to represent New York's 26th congressional district, spanning parts of Erie and Niagara counties in Washington. A self-described independent Democrat, Hochul scored an improbable upset over GOP nominee Jane Corwin to win the seat in a district that had been in Republican hands for decades. But Hochul's aisle-straddling positions and endorsements, including from the National Rifle Association, weren't enough to put her over the top in 2012 when she narrowly lost re-election to Republican Chris Collins, who later resigned and pleaded guilty to inside trading. This is New York, by the way. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. As long as you're corrupt, you can be a politician. But anyway, so she has an endorsement from the National Rifle Association. Interesting. So I thought she was a more leftist. I thought maybe I got her mixed up with somebody else. So she's a little more centrist Democrat, and again, aisle straddling positions, endorsements. Okay. And she ran in a Republican district. I wonder what that means. Anyway, here's my issue though. So there's this supposedly rampant, and I'm saying rampant, culture of sexually harassing behavior in the governor's office, right? Rampant, they say. The Attorney General, Letitia James, says it's a rampant culture of such debauchery, right? Where exactly was Kathy Hochul during all this? I mean, if it was rampant, wouldn't she have been around during all that and maybe saw a few things and just kind of let it slide? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But anyway, let's see. Should she choose to throw her hat in the ring for 2022, she will have a tremendous army for the spring primary in 2022. Yeah, it'd be interesting. There's probably a lot more higher profile people who might run for governor in New York come 2022. Because he's, 2 weeks from now? She'll be in office. Then she has to start campaigning for 2022 without Andrew Cuomo. Now, before this all broke, Andrew Cuomo was going to run for his 4th term and probably would have been a shoo-in, right? But so much for that, right? So much for that. I'm just curious. But where was she? Where was she during this rampant culture of harassment? I don't know. Probably cheating. I don't know. Lifetime of sucking on the public teat can define tenacity. Oh, Dharma Poozle. That's harsh. Anyway, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Let's see. Oh, here. Yeah. In fact, speaking of which, here's a Breitbart article saying something similar to what I just said. I think Lee Zeldin says Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul empowered Cuomo's disgusting behavior. Representative Lee Zeldin, Republican of New York, who is running for governor of New York, called for new leadership to root out systematic corruption. Now, they spelled that wrong. Do you see this? This is a Breitbart article. They need editors because when you say to root out systematic corruption, you don't spell it R-O-U-T-E. You root it out, as in take it out by the roots, R-O-O-T. Interesting. Although I suppose that could be a way, you're rooting it, you're guiding it out. But when I say root out, I expect it to be R-O-O-T. Hi, Rusty Shack. Nice to see you back. Anyway, in the Empire State following Andrew Cuomo's Tuesday resignation over a myriad of sexual harassment and misconduct allegations. So Andrew Cuomo, this is Lee Zeldin, Republican from New York, who's going to run for governor in 2022. Andrew Cuomo's statement today is a clear indication he is resigning to skirt all repercussions for his actions as opposed to accounting for his misconduct. Yeah, he's getting a free pass, especially on the Great Mama massacre. He knows he would be impeached. He knows he would be voted out of office. Andrew Cuomo broke the law and criminal repercussions must follow, despite him no longer serving in public office. Yeah, let's get more to this guy. From his deadly nursing home order and cover up, it's not just the crime, but it's the cover up, to his $5.1 million self-congratulatory book deal, which he had his staff work on, and serial harassment or abuse of others, he's been unfit to continue serving for a long period of time, Zeldin said in a statement. Unfortunately for New Yorkers, we're left with Cuomo's lieutenant who empowered this disgusting behavior while Andrew Cuomo cultivated this toxic culture, leaving a trail of victims in its wake. Kathy Hochul has been silent. Scandal after scandal, from fatal nursing home policies and cover-ups to rampant harassment, intimidation, bullying, and abuse. The New York Republican continued in November of 2022. We must rid New York of the Cuomo-Hochul administration and its disgraceful. Okay, so he's what do you call that? When you're angling, you're getting your position because you're going to come in there and try to kick some ass, and she's going to be weak because nobody voted for her anyway. And, they voted for Cuomo, and she just happened to be there. It'll be interesting to see if and it's not unheard of in New York for a Republican light to become governor or the mayor of New York City, although I wouldn't call Rudy Republican light. When he was mayor, he was almost, he wasn't like Mr. Republican guy. He was just a guy running for mayor, and kind of almost I would say non-partisan mayor, because I don't know. But hey, if this guy can get his bona fides up to speed and get these people thinking differently for a change, maybe they'll get a change in New York under the governor's office. It'll be interesting. Okay, let's keep going. The Boston mayor, we've talked about her before. Because they're talking about vaccine passports in some places, right? Well, she is doubling down. Vaccine passport, she says, is like show their papers during slavery, post-slavery, and for immigrants. She ain't playing because she knows that the communities that have our lowest percentage of vaccinations are POC, the Black and Indigenous people of color, they like to say. When asked about business businesses may be requiring proof of COVID vaccination for customers, Boston Mayor Kim Janey said she wants to provide every opportunity for people to get this vaccine, but said businesses trying to mandate it is problematic because there's a long history in this country of people needing to show their papers, especially during slavery and the post-slavery period. There's a long history in this country for people needing to show their papers, said Janey on August 3rd, as reported by WCVB, ABC's 5 News Center. During slavery and post-slavery, as recent as, when what the immigrant population has to go through here. Well, there's hold on now. Wait a minute. Whoa. There's a difference between people who were enslaved in this country and people who are coming here illegally, because legal immigrants, even though they might have to show their papers, are probably happy to show their papers because they're legal. It's the illegal. Anyway, she continues, we heard Trump with the birth certificate nonsense, said Janey, Boston's first black female mayor. Here we want to make sure that we are not doing anything that would further create a barrier for residents of Boston or disproportionately impact, here it comes, BIPOC, yes, Black and Indigenous people of color communities. Although according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, as of August 4th, 70% of the adult population of the United States had received at least one dose of the stab. However, while white adults account for the largest share, 57% of unvaccinated adults, Black and Hispanic people remain less likely than their white counterparts to have received the jab, leaving them at increased risk, particularly as the variant spreads, said the KFF. Now, but then again, they're also most vulnerable to vaccine passports. Again, trying to hold the black man down with vaccine passports. Sorry, I think that's funny. Anyway, well, good for her. She sees that there is the Black and Indigenous people of color most affected by these things. And I don't know what you're going to do to increase the percentage of people getting the jab, so I don't know. Okay, Biden checks if he can stop Florida and Texas mask mandate bans. Biden is, so now, how he was before when he was talking about whether or not the executive branch could extend the moratorium on evictions, right? And he said, well, we're gonna study this and decide whether or not, we have the legal stance to do it. Oh, fuck it, we're gonna do it anyway. Well, now he's looking at if they could have a federal mask mandate from the United States government for schools and for all kinds of things. They're studying it right now. As the media and medical establishment gathered to condemn Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Texas Governor Greg Abbott for their bans on mask mandates within their respective states, President Joe Biden said he will be checking to see if he can intervene from the White House. I feel a court battle coming on. Speaking with reporters on Tuesday, the president said he would be checking to see if he could intervene in states like Florida and Texas following a question from NBC's Peter Alexander. Did they have this on tape? Whatever. Do you have presidential powers to intervene in states like Texas and Florida where they are banning masks? Now look, they're not banning masks. If parents want their kids to wear masks, go wear a friggin' mask. They're just stop saying, people gotta have their choice to make their decisions. I don't know. Biden said that avenues for him to intervene would most likely be for federal workers within states like Florida, Texas. I don't believe that I do thus far. Well, he said that about the moratorium on evictions. So what he actually has the power to do and what he will try to do to work around the courts, he probably will. He says, I don't believe I do this so far. We're checking that, but there are federal workforce. Okay, remember, this is Biden speaking, so I'm trying to read it is trying to I have to feign sundowners to figure out what the hell he's saying. He said, the federal workforce, I think that people should understand, see little kids. I mean, 4, 5, 6-year-old in hospitals on ventilators, and some of them passing, not many, but some of them passing. It's almost, I mean, it's just, well, I should not characterize beyond that. Okay, so he lost his train of thought, and his handlers probably were having in his earpiece to shut the fuck up. Anyway, during his Tuesday news conference, President Biden also denounced efforts to ban mask mandates primarily in schools, describing them as disingenuous. Why are they disingenuous? You think they're disingenuous? I think they're probably very genuine about their desire to ban mask mandates. What are you talking about? I'm not going to try to speak Biden speak. They have quotes from him, but anyway. Let's see. A certain general weighed in too. Went as far as to call it unconscionable. Adams said during an appearance on CBS this morning, quote, "As a physician and as a public health expert, it is deeply troubling that it seems we're letting politics get in the way of protecting our youth. As a father, I quite frankly think it's unconscionable." No. If people think they can protect their youths with a mask and a jab, go for it. They're just not making it possible to force you to do that. I think you can't tie the hands of school and public health officials based on what you perceive to be the reality when your public health officials are telling you they need these tools. We're going to see more spread, unfortunately. Parents, if your kids are over 12, please get your questions answered so you can get them vaccinated. You should consider wearing an N95 mask because they're available now. Keep an eye on the numbers in your area, the COVID numbers, so that you can make an informed decision, even as the politicians are telling you they won't let it be mandated. Well, I still haven't heard of the Delta variant test, by the way. They say it's all Delta variant, but, my wife, well, she did work at a testing place, but I didn't know that they had a test that can specifically detect whether or not you are sick with the Delta variant. I haven't heard of that yet, and I've seen more than one question asked to an official in the government that can't seem to answer that question. I don't know why. It's an interesting topic, and I'm going to move on. Let's see here. How likely are vaccinated people to get meaningfully sick from Delta? Now, this is interesting that this is in the Daily Caller. The reality that breakthrough cases exist and being vaccinated doesn't guarantee perfection from the 19 has raised new question in the minds of many Americans. Just how likely is it that someone will get seriously ill from Delta, of the Delta version of the 19 if they are vaccinated? Some clinical data suggests that the efficacy may be slightly lower against the Delta variant than previous iterations of the virus, but the overall numbers are still promising. A July study by Public Health England found that the Pfizer stab is still 88% effective at preventing symptomatic disease from the Delta-Reese, as Hope Cannon calls it, and only about 6% lower against the Alpha variant. A Canadian study found that Moderna jab to be 72% effective against Delta after just one dose, but more data is needed to determine how much more protection the second jab provides. Moderna shots have shown to be around 93% effective after 6 months without accounting for the Delta-Reese. Anyway, oh boy. So, the people can get sick from the Delta variant even if they're vaccinated. And they can spread because the viral load is just barely slightly different than the viral load of someone who's unstabbed. So I suppose the main reasons that you would continue to take them, though, and I think people, especially vulnerable people, should, is because it gives you apparently protection against having really severe symptoms. And that's if you should be one of that 12% that actually still get the Delta-Reese. So, all right. But there are people who are legally resisting dystopian diktats to get a shot or be fired. In the past week, Democratic governors and other Democratic Party officials throughout the country have launched a coordinated effort to threaten Americans' economic security by issuing hasty, do what we say or your job gets it, COVID diktats. Not dick tots, but diktats, as in D-I-K-T-A-T, or diktats. Democrats claim these mandates were in the name of science to combat the virulent Della Reese variant, the latest of probably several versions of the 19. This at a time when it looks as if there is precious little that can be done about the 19, save perhaps shots and precautions like one would take for a nasty version of the yearly flu. Former CDC Director Robert Redfield says he believes the virus came from the place of origin that shall not be named in the lab, and the virus and its variants are here to stay. Yeah, do they have a Della Reese test that lets you know that you got the Della Reese version versus the Obama version? I'm sorry. Well, they keep trying to call it the Trump jab or the DeSantis variant. No, it's not. Anyway, it's a way of looking. There's a way it's looking. The pandemic will likely become endemic like the flu and the coronavirus-based common cold. But the truth is, we don't really know what the role of this virus will take in American life from here on out. The only thing that we do know is that the Democratic Party elected officials believe the best way to deal with it is by authoritarian diktats, as opposed to tater tots. The reflexive reaction is to bury freedom in the name of safety. Millions of jobs and American livelihoods hang in the balance against these threats. Now, Oregon Governor Kate Brown issued orders for all healthcare workers to get stupid 19 shots or face being fired. And Washington Governor Jay Inslee ordered all employees and government contractors to get a stab or they would be fired. In California, Virginia, New York City, the far-left governors announced plans to hector unvaccinated people or employees with constant testing and getting fired. In Texas, Democrats have gone to court to argue for less freedom against Governor Greg Abbott's anti-lockdown and mask edicts. Like Texas, several states have passed laws prohibiting employers from firing employees for not getting the stab. So bravo. There just may be a major migration, blues out of red states and reds out of blue states, which would be fine with me. President Biden announces edict requiring vaccine for several federal agencies and the U.S. military. Now, this article is supposed to be telling me how people are avoiding it. So here we go. Robert Barnes said on his program with Viva Frey and Barnes for the People that there's an array of actual planned lawsuits by people who have been threatened with job loss, mask mandates, and less freedom. Good. The question to be answered is, did the FDA follow its own rules? As far as challenging the FDA. So here's some of the ways they try to do it. One, challenge the FDA. Did the FDA follow its own rules, follow its own procedures before taking any particular action, whether that's the issuance of notices like their fact sheets, or whether it's the approval of a vaccine as emergency use, or whether the full FDA approval and all, whether that's full FDA approval and all these components. So yeah, fight there. Also, religious exemptions. If you're not a particularly religious person, doesn't matter. You don't need a pastor's sign-off, church attendance records, or anything else to assert your right to exercise your freedom of conscience. And here's your ammo. Barnes shared listeners' hypothetical. Okay, I'm not going to read this anymore. I'll just give you the tops. Experimental vaccines cannot be compelled up, but they're talking about making it fully FDA approved, using the American with Disabilities Act. Ask your employer whether they be government or private industry, what the purpose of requiring the shot is. And also the line of whether you've already had COVID. Now, I had an article from about how Washington University, a study in St. Louis, was saying that I gotta be careful, saying that people have the antibody from having a mild case of the 19 are likely have some permanent immune qualities as in it lasts longer than the jab, maybe, will likely, much longer. And so let's see. So if these employers believe in immunity, which would appear to be the case judging by their rantings over getting jabbed, as they insist on calling it, then what do they have against the natural and arguably better immunity according to people who already had it? That's what George Mason's Anton Scalia's law school professor Todd Zwicky wondered when he was ordered to get a stab or else suffer professional consequences. Moreover, the professor who took antibody test to verify his immunity was advised by his doctor that taking a stab for having stupid 19 put him at a heightened risk for adverse side effects. That's what I'm worried about. Having already had it, I don't want, it says you're at a heightened risk for adverse side effects. So where does the university get off thinking they're smarter than him and his doctor? So Professor Zwicky decided to find out and filed a lawsuit to stop the school's punitive mandates against unstabbed people. The mandates included forced mask wearing, frequent testing, and, as stated in his lawsuit, the policy strips unstabbed employees of their eligibility for future merit-based pay increases because they cannot upload proof of the stab. The specter of being fired is also hanging over his neck like a guillotine. So that's how he's fighting. They're saying civil rights violation is another possibility. So if you want to see how people are fighting this, check out this article from PJ Media. I'll do a couple more and then I'll just leave all these articles in the tabs. There's so many today. Let's just do some, we'll do headlines. Oh, America, Delta, and Southwest Airlines will not make workers get stupid 19 stab. Very interesting. They're not going to have a vaccine mandate for their employees, as the controversy over whether to require workers to get jabbed roils businesses across the country. So those are three huge airlines. Interesting. Also, another New York Post article, mass bullies don't want to humiliate you or to persuade you, but to humiliate and rule you. This is Glenn Reynolds, Instapundit, if you're familiar with him. Just talking about how this is a power thing. There is... I got to be careful again because, by the way, did you hear Rand Paul? Senator Rand Paul. Senator and doctor, medical professional Rand Paul has been suspended from YouTube because he actually talked about the science of masks. I'll just leave that there. And they've suspended him from YouTube. A United States senator who is also a doctor, who has also expertise on reading studies and different literature on the things that doctors need to know. Some plebe at YouTube, some, who has zero, I'm sure, medical experience, has the nerve to suspend Dr. and Senator Rand Paul from YouTube for medical misinformation. Now, growing up as a kid, one of the things that you always used to hear is, if the doctor tells you something that, that is concerning to you, you should always maybe get a second opinion, especially when it comes to surgeries and things like that. Get a second opinion. And apparently, there's no such thing as a second opinion in this particular field in the United States and much around the world. The only opinion that matters is either the CDC or, in Facebook's and YouTube's case, the World Health Organization, which sometimes is at odds with our own CDC and some even the different doctors that they approve you of listening to, let alone some of these doctors who have done some of their own research and said, why are they doing this stupidity? Like Dr. Rand Paul, right? I gotta tell you, this power kick though that the Democrats are getting off on, because they can kind of just say, oh, well, we have a reason for trying to grab all this power, right? What's gonna happen when that swings over to Republicans again? They say, oh, they're never gonna elect another Republican again. Au contraire. I got a feeling that the Senate and the House might flip next cycle, because there are a lot of motivated Republicans. They won't need a insurrection because the voting booths will be their own form of that because anyway. So you can check out if you want to know about how they want to rule you. That's in the tabs. Another good article on DeSantis. Florida's health department blasts CDC for pushing misinformation about the state's COVID numbers. Yeah. It's fascinating because if you watch any of the news, particularly anything that's not on the right of news, or which is pretty much everything except for a couple of channels and a couple of internet sites, they keep saying that Florida is just they're overflowed, they're dying, and this and that, and what the third. The start of okay, let's just go through this. We'll do this one because this one's kind of important. How they're doing it. All right, now let me give you the Reader's Digest version of this. So if you, as you watch the numbers, different days have different numbers, right? Some days there's no deaths, some days there's a bunch. They load them up all in one day, and what they do is they'll take those days where they finally loaded up all the numbers and put them in there where they can add them, and they can say, oh, well, there's this many new cases. Not mentioning that the last 4 days, there are none or very few. They don't do the average of all the cases, which, it's, yes, the cases and the hospitalizations are all slightly up. But they go and talk about the numbers, the biggest number they can find on whatever day, and don't take the averages. The Florida Department of Health is calling on the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to issue a correction after the federal health agency published false and misleading information regarding the state's newly confirmed cases of the 19. As part of standard procedure, the CDC reported the total number of confirmed 19 cases Florida experienced over the weekend, reporting that the Sunshine State saw more than 28,000 new cases on Sunday alone. According to local reporting, the number would represent the largest single day number of cases ever reported in the state. As it turns out, however, the CDC's numbers are blatantly false. Following the CDC's publication of the data, the Florida State Department of Health took to Twitter to state that the federal agency had combined multiple days into one. This is not accurate, the health department said. Florida follows CDC guidelines reporting cases Monday through Friday other than holidays. Consequently, each Monday or Tuesday, there will be 2 or 3 days of data reported at a time. When data is published, it is attributed evenly to the previous days, which is they tweeted there. The Florida Department of Health later went on to cite the correct numbers for the state, which shows daily totals of newly confirmed cases on the decline. That's supposed to be there. The daily case counts in Florida currently posted on the CDC's COVID tracker are incorrect. The current listing states 28,317. The accurate data are as follows: 21,500, 19,567, 15,319. The 3-day average is 18,795. In response, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' press secretary, Christine Pushaw, took to Twitter to address the matter. The Florida Department of Health routinely and automatically reports data on reportable diseases, including stupid 19, many more to the CDC. The CDC publishes it. Why not ask why cdc.gov or made this simple mistake? We expect they will correct it soon. Within hours of the CDC's initial reporting, Democrats were quick to launch a bevy of attacks against DeSantis, claiming the Republican governor has lost all credibility. The governor and his apparatchiks within the Democrats. The governor and his apparatchiks within the Florida Department of Health have lost all credibility, said State Representative Omari Hardy. This is what happens when you suppress the data. They're still saying that. And refuse to release daily infection totals directly to the public. Well, they have been. They do it the way it's supposed to be. Florida just retracted their. Then he says, Florida just retracted their daily COVID-19 data that they had reported to the CDC. Left-wing scientist Eric Feigl-Ding falsely claimed. Well, at least they admit it now, waiting for more details. Bullshit. And then the CDC still has not issued a correction on the matter. So they're again, they have a narrative that Florida and Texas are doing the worst, and they're giving some BS numbers to prove it, even though as they said, Florida numbers were going down, not up, compared to whatever the days that they were talking about. All right, in legal insurrection, a good article. Surge in pediatric. Oh, the surge in Okay, the surge in pediatric respiratory cases appear to stem from RSV infections, not the 19. More concerned of just we talked about this the other day too. More concerned of just RSV overwhelming the hospital more than stupid 19 just in pediatrics. The American press may be failing us once again on its coverage of the stupid 19. Current reports stress that 19s is surging among children, and the experts quickly stress vaccines and mask mandates in response. But is this the case? While 19 numbers may be rising among children, it is also true that we are seeing a surge of respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, that is resulting in hospitalizations. RSV is a common respiratory virus that usually results in mild cold-like symptoms. Most people recover in a week or two. Still, RSV can be severe, especially for infants. It is the most common cause of bronchitis, inflammation of the small airways in the lungs, and pneumonia, infection of the lungs, in the countries younger than 1 year of age, children 1 year of age. For example, a rise in RSV infections is reported in Albuquerque, partially attributed to the lack of regular infections after lockdowns and restrictions have ended. Health officials monitoring the 19 are now seeing another dangerous trend nationwide. There's been a rise in cases of the RSV, which can be deadly for young children. Doctors said RSV is very common during the winter months, but disappeared during the pandemic for people masking up. Now we are seeing it spread in an unusual time. So, part of the problem in the hospitalizations is this RSV, and but they're not, well, at least the media is not reporting it. Some of the media is not reporting it. And it's being blamed for, pediatric hospitals being, losing bed space. But it's not because of the 19. So you can read that whole article in there. It'll be in the tabs. Let's see. I'm about to done here. In Iceland, their top epidemiologist says COVID stabs has not led to herd immunity. Switching gear to treatments instead of desperately clinging to the stabs may be the winning approach. Oh my gosh. Are they going to have a protocol for treating the 19? What a novel idea. Wow. News continues to stream worldwide that 19 vaccinations are not as effective as either hoped or advertised. In California, 19% of all new cases are among those who have received the stab. Officials are using this data to thrust the Mask Up campaign. Everyone whose last name isn't Obama. Now that's funny. About 19% of recent document 19 cases in California are breakthroughs, and state data shows that those who have been fully stabbed account for an increasing portion of positive tests. Breakthrough case rates are a sensitive topic, one that some health officials are trying to avoid because it makes more people hesitant. They're like, why take the stab if I'm going to get it anyway? I have almost a 20% chance. Which has sparked a lot of hand-wringing in the media about how to report it. The fear is misinterpretation of the numbers will dissuade people from getting the stab. But without the data, the important push for everyone to wear face diapers is weakened. In Israel, about 60% of the population has the stab. An Israeli doctor said that most stupid 19 patients hospitalized at his hospital are fully stabbed. How about that? And those with severe illnesses have also been stabbed. This is the kind of article that you shouldn't read on YouTube, but I just did. There's a lot more in here. You should read it. One Swedish professor thinks people might need 5 booster shots. Oh my gosh, does he work for Pfizer? 5 booster shots. I think I'll stick with my natural immunity. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, they have signed arrest warrants for the Texas Democrats who fled the state. There was a judge in Austin that said, nope, you can't arrest these people. It's not constitutional. And the state Supreme Court quickly came back and said, it's written right there in the law. It's constitutional. Go for it. So now they've issued arrest warrants for any of those Democrats who fled on the private jet to Washington, D.C. and held their own super spreader event. So should they come back to Texas and they decide to have a legislative session, those lawmakers, or excuse me, the lack of makers or law non-makers can be arrested and brought to the State House. So if you want details, you can read the article. Moving on. Cory Booker. Who? Apparently he gave a satirical speech against the defund the police movement. I didn't even know he was still alive, but apparently Cory Booker is still alive. That's the biggest news from this story. If you want to read it, go for it. And PJ Media, another story of family. Oh, and also, so apparently, so I'm going to finish with this one. And there's a whole bunch of other headlines and whatever. Check out the tab after the show. I will put all these articles in the tab. But this is an interesting case. How there's a family court scandal in California regarding divorces. And this is fascinating. So the issue of, we'll just go through this. The issue of family court corruption is finally getting the attention it deserves, thanks to some high-profile celebrities who've been speaking out about the outrageous violations of civil rights and due process that happened to them in family courts. The most recent is Southern Charm's Catherine Dennis, who says her parental rights have been stripped in favor of a known abuser, ex-boyfriend Thomas Ravenel. Dennis posted on Instagram a familiar statement among parents destroyed by family courts. Quote, "It can be exhausting to live 2 lives, one for your children and for the world. Everything is fine, and the other where you are beaten down by the family court system. We see you and we stand with you. You are not alone." Ravenel is Ravenel is a known convicted criminal, according to the Post and Courier. He served as state treasurer in 2007, but resigned when he was indicted on a federal charge of conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine. He was sentenced to 10 months behind bars in that case. He was also arrested and pled guilty to assaulting his nanny. This is from another article. Thomas Ravenel, the Fort State treasurer and Southern Charm reality TV star, pleaded guilty Wednesday to a lesser charge in connection with an attack on his former nanny and will donate thousands to support other victims. So, while Dennis has her own problems with substance abuse, she sought treatment and has not been arrested or convicted of any violent crimes, unlike Ravenel. Yet the court recently stripped Dennis of her parental rights, and she is only allowed to see her children on supervised visitation. Ravenel has been given full custody of the couple's children and permission to move them over 100 miles away from their mother. The case is under seal, and Ravenel's lawyer says the details of why the judge did this are secret. The secrecy of family courts is one of the major stumbling blocks to cleaning up corruption. If the press cannot access the cases, court insiders and corrupt judges can do whatever they want. A regular family without access to Hollywood money cannot file appeals because they are cost prohibitive. Due to the sensitive nature of the issues involved, all documents in the case have been sealed, meaning that the public cannot access them, and neither Mr. Ravenel, Ms. Dennis, nor their respective attorneys are permitted to release them to third parties. Now, Angelina Jolie went public recently, accusing the family court in her case of being in cahoots with Brad Pitt's attorneys and refusing to hear her evidence during her divorce case. An appeals court agreed with her. The Guardian reported, A California appeals court has disqualified a private judge being used by Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt in their divorce case, handling Jolie a major victory. On Friday, the Second District Court of Appeal agreed with Jolie that Judge John W. Oderkirk did not sufficiently disclose business relationships with Pitt's attorneys. Judge Oderkirk's ethical breach considered, together with the information disclosed concerning his recent professional relationships with Pitt's counsel, might cause an objective person aware of all the facts reasonably to entertain a doubt as to the judge's ability to be impartial. Disqualification is required. So, now there's other cases that they're talking about, but here's the thing. Where is it here? Let me find this real quick. The system is well known to have been ground through it, but when will the legislature, which have the power to check judges, clean up this mess, do their jobs? Instead of taking responsibility for the family courts, the state legislatures have abandoned their power to oversight boards that are tasked with hearing complaints from litigants. These boards rarely discipline anybody. Reuters just did an incredible investigation into judicial corruption and found that thousands of judges accused of misconduct remain on the bench. So here's what they do. And they're kind of in cahoots with the lawyers a little bit too. So especially in some of these big profile cases where they, the lawyers, like, you know, kind of, they look at, okay, how much money these people have, how many hours can we build based on how much money these people have. And then sometimes the courts, the courts themselves, like I said, this particular judge was in cahoots with Brad Pitt's lawyers against Angelina Jolie, and luckily, the appeals court, figured it out. But so here's one example. Judges have made racist statements, lied to state officials, and forced defendants to languish in jail without a lawyer, and then return to the bench, sometimes with a little more than a rebuke from the state agencies overseeing their conduct. Recent media reports have documented failures in judicial oversight in not just California, but South Carolina, Louisiana, Illinois. Reuters went further. In the first comprehensive In the first comprehensive accounting of judicial misconduct nationally, Reuters identified and reviewed 1,509 cases from the last dozen years, 2008 through 2019, in which judges resigned, retired, or were publicly disciplined following accusations of misconduct. In addition, reporters identified another 3,613 cases from 2008 to 2018, in which states disciplined wayward judges but kept hidden from the public key details of their offenses, including the identities of the judges themselves. All told, 9 of every 10 judges were allowed to return to the bench after they were sanctioned for misconduct, Reuters determined. They included a California judge who had sex in his courthouse chambers, once with his former law intern and separately with an attorney, a New York judge who berated domestic violent victims, and a Maryland judge who, after his arrest for drunk driving, was allowed to return to the bench provided he took a breathalyzer test before each appearance. All right, the news agency's findings reveal an excessively forgiving judiciary discipline system, said Stephen Gillers, a law professor at New York University who writes about judicial ethics. Although punishment short of removal from the bench is appropriate for most misconduct cases, Gillers said the public would be appalled at some of the lenient treatment judges get for substantial transgressions. So the judges who are fucking up don't get disciplined because, they're judges, I guess. I don't know. All right, we're going to finish up here. Any other, let's see. Apparently there's a Wisconsin Democrat tied to a massage parlor who won't run for re-election. I didn't see this one. I forgot I opened this one up. So there's Representative Ron Kine, Democrat, Wisconsin, has come under fire for renting property to a massage parlor linked to prostitution. Oh, yeah, we saw that one a while back. Anyway, let's see. What the hell's going on here? I do not want to see Candace Owens. How do I get this on my screen? There we go. Larry Elder, running for California governor, pushes for school choice and condemns critical race theory. I know a couple of people in California, and while they like Larry Elder, there's candidates they like better from the Republican side than Larry Elder, but Larry Elder has the name recognition from his radio show out there. I don't know if I'm thrilled about him or not. I mean, he's a good dude. I've got one more that I actually need to show you, because Rand Paul has decided to strike back. Did I go through all the news in this? I went through a bunch of it. Some of them I doubled up here, and you missed. I started out with the big boy story because I think that's so cool, and we showed the video of that. I have catching up to do on Discord, but I've seen a bunch of it. Rand Paul, quote, "I'm not sure when YouTube became an arm of the government." Rand Paul slaps back after YouTube suspension. Last week, Senator Rand Paul was reportedly censored by YouTube following an interview with a Newsmax journalist during which they discussed a variety of topics, including the science behind masks. According to Senator Paul's office, the video was removed by YouTube with his account suspended from posting any new videos for 7 days. Now, he makes a great statement here. Censorship by YouTube is very dangerous as it stifles debate and promotes groupthink where the truth is defined by people with a political agenda, Senator Paul stated in a video message which responded to YouTube's alleged actions. The video titled "It's Time for Unfiltered News" was also removed by YouTube. I think, let's see, it is on Rumble. I'll put that Rumble link to that video in the tabs. It'll be right there. The video has been removed for violating YouTube's community guidelines, stated that Google owns big tech giant. YouTube said the video violated their policy because of my comments on masks and that they don't allow videos that contradict government's guidance on 19. Senator Paul stated in the now deleted response video. During a press call earlier on Tuesday, Senator Paul condemned the apparent link between big tech corporations such as YouTube and the country's legislature. "I'm not sure when YouTube became an arm of the government, and I'm not really sure it's good for journalism to also be an arm of the government without any repercussion or pushback," Senator Paul said. While some conservative voices are calling for big tech to be reined in through various forms of legislative action, Senator Paul discussed an alternative approach. "My hope is that maybe through competition we'll prove them wrong in their ways." Senator Paul also referenced the challenging intersection between the rights of private companies to censor content or ban users and the pursuit of free speech. So I like the fact that they linked the Rumble of the account of that video. I probably can get in trouble for even saying Rumble on YouTube. He said, as a libertarian-leaning senator, I think private companies have the right to ban me if they want to, but I think it is a really anti-free speech, anti-progress of science, which involves skepticism and argumentation to arrive at the truth. Senator Paul said, "We realize that this in our court system, that both sides present facts on either side of a question and complete an adversarial process to reach the truth in each case." Senator Paul then moved to link this debate to the field of journalism. Journalism isn't far from that, and in some ways, the adversarial part of the courtroom is ideally what you'd find in journalism, where both sides would present facts. There is a period of argumentation, and people figure out the truth for themselves, he said. YouTube and Google, though, have become an entity so huge that they think they are the arbiters of truth. Yeah. Senator Paul concluded by directly referencing the ongoing effort to break up big tech corporations. "I will try to channel my anger, not breaking these companies up, but by publicly expressing my disagreement with them and publicly promoting other channels that offer free speech alternatives," he said. So Senator Paul, I think, is going to be starting an alt tech. And on that note, let's finish the show by reminding you, I, too, am on alt tech. Most of my videos and streams can be replays can be found on Odyssey, aka Library. It's kind of the same thing. Also, I am on Rumble and BitChute, and I don't post there as many. If I put standalone videos, I do put them there. If this channel ever goes kaput, I will move most of my stuff over to Odyssey. Apparently has a new streaming function. Trovo, I'm still on Trovo. But you can, if you follow me on social media up here, you will be able to find me. And again, social media wise, I am always at PDawgKnight, and on most of the video channels, I'm at PDawgKnight. You can, if you're not on Twitter, you might be on Gab or Minds or BitChute or Parler or Getter. I'm on all 6 of those platforms as far as making notifications. If you lose me, that's where you can find me. If YouTube someday says bye bye, that wasn't a very good bye bye bye. Me hate me, ain't no lie. Bye. Anyway, if I go bye on YouTube, you can find me on just about any other of those platforms, and use this right here. Find me on social media, and I'll tell you where I'm at. So, anyway, I got to call it a day. Apparently, HB is about to. Our good friend the Hard Bastard is about to fire it up. So this is good timing for me to say bye-bye or bye. So thanks everybody who showed up today. I appreciate it. If you haven't hit the like button, do that now. Hit the share thing arrow down here. And if you're watching late or watching a replay, or even if you're not watching a replay, throw a comment in the comment section. I am throwing up some standalone clips from shows again here periodically. For example, I dropped one today from yesterday. If you didn't see the show yesterday, at least you can see a part of the show yesterday. I'm putting another clip up later tonight. And also, if you're a fan of Lords of the Night, tonight I will be a guest on the Lords of the Night. I think it is on Scribe Light's channel tonight. It's either on Satsu or Scribe. There's only 2 choices, but I will be there. So please, if you're a fan of that show, I'll see you there. That's it for today, people. Time for me to go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thanks for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.